Fin Fang Foom is here, and even though he's not showing up in every single list, the decks that do want him are doing some really powerful stuff. Let's dive into these lists from some top players so you can know the best day one decks to use at Fin Fang Foom and decide if he's worth your 6,000 tokens. Hey, what's up everybody? Kicker of Elves here. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day. We've got a new Series 5 card in the game. It is the much anticipated Fin Fang Foom, who is a 7/12 on reveal, gain the power of front row enemy cards here. Been playing a lot with Fin Fang Foom this afternoon and evening, and just right out of the gate here, this is an easy 4 out of 5 star card. Similar to Lin Le, which released last week, its strength is more narrow. This isn't a card like an Iron Patriot that's just going to go into every kind of deck. It's not like a Shu Lao that goes into a ton of decks. It goes into a pretty narrow selection of decks out of the gate, but it is a huge power boost for those decks. It immediately goes into decks like Hela or decks like Ramp. Ramp's only need some time to look out. This is a card that at a 7 cost, you're going to either need to cheat it out onto the board or ramp up energy in some way, whether that be through like an Electro or a Luna Snow or doing some crazy Fallen 1 Symbiote Spider-Man stuff. This isn't a free roll card. You do have to make pretty significant deck building considerations to make it work. Magic is going to be probably the most risky of those plays because of the presence of cards like Merlin, and even with that, this card feels extremely strong in those lists. So if you're tight on tokens and you hear Hela and Ramp and you go, oh, I like those, this is almost definitely a card you should be picking up. This is a huge power boost and it feels really cool. I think people are going to be very concerned about the presence of Stardust during this card's release week because not as many decks are going to be trying to play this card honestly in terms of just like, I play Fin Fang Foom for 7 energy. They're going to be trying to cheat it out with Hela, or even in the case of the ramp lists that are out there where they could afford 7 energy on turn 6 to play out Fin Fang Foom honestly, those decks still want to do stuff with like cards like Blink and cheating stuff out there, or like playing a Luna Snow, which could, the Ice Cube gets removed by Stardust presence. So with that, there's definitely a lot of cool decks. I've been playing this, having a great time. If you're hesitant, easy to wait until Friday to see some more cooks and some more stats from this card before you pick it up in time to have the weekend missions. But I am very high on this card, and I've got a couple of early meta decks that you can take into ladder or conquest and obliterate your opponents as usual. Let's take a peek at those now. Let's talk about some great decks. This Man Spider list loves Fin Fang Foom. The game plan with this list is to ramp out a huge amount of power with a Man Spider copied by a Taskmaster, or getting some cheating shenanigans with like She-Hulk and Hydra Man. Even though we're running magic in this list, you don't need to go to turn 7, so you don't need to be worried about Merlin and all that sort of stuff. What you can do is play Symbiote Spider-Man alone in a location, Fallen 1, use the activate from Symbiote Spider-Man Fallen 1 to get a huge amount of energy going into turn 6, where at a minimum you can play Man Spider and Taskmaster, but if you are able to play that Man Spider on top of an Agony or get a Hulk Buster onto the Man Spider before Taskmastering, you're looking at almost 100 power in 2 lanes. Shu Lao can't deal with that. And that's just the plan A. Fin Fang Foom's presence in here represents, Fin Fang Foom is a like, I'm going to win this location type of card. It asks the question of, do you have 13 power in just your back lanes? This used to be Galactus First Steps, but you're very easily able to just like throw Fin Fang Foom by ramping into stuff on turn 6 and like turn 7 playing a Taskmaster. It's incredibly powerful. Fin Fang Foom is a welcome inclusion in this list, but he is not the primary star of the show, at least not normally. But still a great place if you're looking to test the waters and use a crazy over-the-top combo deck now that Shadow King, which was this card's natural predator, is very much gone. Let's talk about Ramp. This Ramp list comes from Smiles over at Snap Academy YouTube. After the video, make sure to go check out Smiles' channel. Really quality stuff. He's one of the top players in the world and was largely the progenitor of the Chamber Ramp list that dominated the December 2025 metagame. This is his early list on this, and pretty cool stuff going on here. I will say, and we'll talk about Hela in just a moment, I had a tougher time working with this. I'm not an avid Ramp fan, though I do like this iteration here. Fin Fang Foom, we can naturally play him on 7, whether we're doing Luna Snow, Electro, or Jennifer Kale stuff to do our ramp. He's going to easily win a location. We've got the War Machine to be able to do the Infinite stuff, Legion for scams, Dragon Lord for an additional way to pull down our Foom or one of our huge cards here. This is the ramp list that you know and love. The interesting iteration here is Ghost Spider, because there are going to be some situations where, just because of the size of these cards, like you're playing an Infinite on one location, your opponent might just give up on that location entirely. Even if you've got, like, let's say an Electro and a Jennifer Kale in there, maybe they've only played like 4 power into that location, so you're winning with just these 2 cards, and they're like, oh, they've overcommitted with the Infinite, I'm going to ignore that. You Ghost Spider your Infinite over and then play Galactus First Steps into a different location. That's an easy way to boost the cube equity on this list, where people have kind of figured out the patterns. I think this is really cool. This is a list that I need to put some more time in. Like I've said, I'm not the biggest ramp guy in the world. I think this move away from the necessity of War Machine, where we're not running Ebony Maw sort of stuff in here, might help this list feel less like a combo list that's lying about being a combo list, and I'm excited to try it out more. Let's get to the main event here. Shu. That's how poison my brain is by Shu Lao. Fin Fang Foom is a hella-ass Hela card. This list, and the list I'll show you after this, is from Danish. He is the premier Hela player of the game. He has mained Hela for years and years. And me personally, maybe you're like me, I haven't played a lot of Hela. The last time I was playing a lot of Hela was about 2 years ago during the February 2024 metagame, the season where Corvus Glaive released. And I think Hela's been nerfed and reworked so many times. I think at that point she was like the version where you brought back all of your cards, but their power got reduced by 2, so we were running like Luke Cage. There was another period where Hela was just like the premier deck. We'll have to see if Fin Fang Foom does that for Hela, but this list feels... You're going to want to take this into Conquest, but it is so creative in the way it gets its discards. You're almost never going to want to play the card Blade on turn 1 or turn 2. You want to be able to Corvus on turn 3, and if you're able to Corvus and not hit your Hela, or hit your Hela but not your Ghost Rider, you are really cooking. Well, let's just say in the ideal turn, you Corvus on 3, you don't hit your Hela, and you have Super Giant in hand. On 4, you play Super Giant, and then on turn 5, you play your Hela. So she's hidden until the end of the game, freeing you up on turn 6 to do like Gambit Blade and just like discard willy-nilly because you're not worried about hitting your Hela. You can hit your Hela by doing Jubilee and Blink stuff. You can do Legion for very scammy plays. You know, I play mostly on my phone. I was going up against like a whatever list that was just crushing me in terms of points, and Bar with No Name revealed it's like, oh, I just do nothing because you don't have location control, and I just play Legion on Bar with No Name and win. Very fun stuff like that. You can also, if you're ramping things out early, blink your Hela or your Odin into Fin Fang Foom. The only downside of this list, and this is the same thing with all Hela lists, is that Fin Fang Foom, you want to kind of go into its own location. You don't need Giganto and Odin. You don't need your other cards supporting that. Fin Fang Foom is pretty much going to solo any location on its own. And you're playing the casino here. You've just got to see. Hela and Gambit are 2 of my least favorite cards, not least favorite, like most hated cards in the game. I don't love the experience of playing them, but this is the most fun I've had playing Hela in a very long time. This is a very legitimate list. If you like going to the casino, Fin Fang Foom is welcome to go gambling. Now, this list is predicated on the idea that we're not worried about Stardust. If you're playing and you're seeing a lot of Stardust, you're seeing the Aurora lists come down, if you're seeing people being very cautious about Fin Fang Foom, and maybe depending on your pocket meta, that's just not happening. But if they are, this other version of Hela, also from Danish, deals with that in a much better way. We've got the Grandmaster back in here, and the main way that we're dealing with I forget the card's name, Stardust in this situation is by playing Enchantress. Typically, they're not going to be holding Stardust until turn 6. They're going to see your Blade, they're going to see Corvus or Gamma, and be like, oh, they're playing Hela, I can just get my Stardust down to the rest of my game plan. They're not expecting you to run an Enchantress. You hit that Stardust location with Enchantress, and they're dead in the water. They are running Stardust as their catch-all. Let me deal with this Hela gamer. Let me deal with this person trying to cheat out and blink away their Jubilee into Hela sort of stuff. They don't have other contingencies. They were relying on that Stardust. You play that Enchantress, it's game over. So these lists are all very incredible ways to play Fin Fang Foom. I think my favorite of the 4 so far, at least, I might come around on this ramp list, especially as there's more iteration on it. But it was just playing this gambly super giant version of Hela. Super giant is great into Shu Lao right now, and it was a fun time going to the casino. So Fin Fang Foom, 4 to 5 stars, but he is narrow in his application. This is not Shu Lao. This is not Iron Patriot. This is not a card that could, this is not Gwenpool. This is not a card that's going to go into a bunch of lists. It's going to go into lists like this. But if you love these lists, that's an easy pickup. So if you want more hard-hitting deck guides, meta reports, card reviews that really understand the value of the tokens on your account, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button. Kicker of Elves, tons of content on the way. Thank you all a lot for the support. Check out the video below if you want to report on last week's meta at the top infinite, stuff like that. We're going to be doing an updated episode of Marvel Snap Meta Shenanigans in just a few days to see how things have been going post OTA. Going to be a lot of fun. So please hit that sub button, like the video, leave a comment below. What do you think of Fin Fang Foom? What do you think of this meta in general? If you've got thoughts, I want to hear them. I like or engage with pretty much every single comment, as long as you're not being rude or outright trolling me. So let me know those thoughts. Even if you don't want to talk about Marvel Snap, hit me below. Love to hear it. Again, thank you very much for watching. I'm Kicker of Elves. Check out the video on screen right now, and I will see you in the next episode. See ya.